Hey folks, thanks for tuning in for another video. This is obviously, as you can see from the title, inside this box is a zero tolerance ZT0560, which is a Hinderer design knife. I'm going to go ahead and jump right in and start opening it. This is a knife that I have been interested in for a while, but I have a feeling that I'm not going to get along very well with this knife, that I'm going to end up not carrying it, and if that happens, I'll go ahead and probably sell it or trade it and try something else. This is something I've been thinking about doing for a while, where I'm going to start picking out some of the newer designs. I know some of these knives are really hot and popular, and that means that, you know, after I see them enough online, I become interested in them as well. But it's just certain designs, as much as I want to like them, I have a hunch that I won't like them, and this was one of those. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up and check it out right before your eyes here for the first time and see how it goes. So wow, that just fits perfectly in that box that the fella sent it along in. Zero tolerance. Let's see if it has a model number on the side there, 0560. I've also got a whole bunch of knives lined up on the side that I want to open up just for fun and show you a whole bunch of size comparisons to some other popular knives. So it's got some documentation in there, a little silica gel packet, and then we have the knife itself. And I really don't know what to expect. I've never handled one of these or seen one up close in person until right now. And I'm actually going to peer over the viewfinder here to get a good look at it. Everything looks really cool. It's thinner than I thought it was going to be from what I'd seen online. Now again, this is, oh wow, that pops right open. It's big and it's pretty thick, and I'm sure all of you have seen a million videos of this before. This is just kind of my take on it. It is comfortable. And it's extremely aggressive in its design. I think it's got a really aggressive, I hate to say it, but kind of tactical design. And that was another reason that I thought I might not like it. It's actually lighter than I thought it was going to be. At 5.8 ounces, which is the weight of this model, and also the slightly different model, the 0550, which is also made by Rick Hinderer. Even though it's 5.8 ounces, which is one of my heavier knives, it's actually lighter than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to feel a lot heavier. So I'll have to carry it around in my pocket for a little while and try it out. I don't know if I'll even do a full review on this, because I really just kind of wanted to test it out, see if I like it, and if I don't, I'm going to move right along and try something else. But that opens very, very fast. I guess this has the ball bearing system on it, and that's taken no pressure to get it to snap right out. You can see how far it locks up right there. This side of the handle being titanium, and the other side being sort of a sculpted 3D G10, black G10. The blade is L-Max steel, which I have no experience with whatsoever. None at all. So this will be a little bit new to me, but I don't know how much I'm even going to cut with it. I'm just going to carry it for a few days, try it for a few tasks, and just see if I like the comfort and the shape. And one other thing I'm thinking about lately is flippers. I don't know how you all feel about flippers, but they're, for whatever reason, they're not really my favorite. I'm perfectly comfortable using the thumb studs, which on this knife is a little bit difficult. Obviously it was tailored and designed to use the flippers. You can use the thumb stud, but it's pretty sticky for me. And but you know, the flipper, it sticks out the back, and it's just, to me, it's not that it's a bad idea. I know for some people it can be handy, especially for a quick one-handed opening. But as I've mentioned in other videos, I don't carry my knives for any tactical purpose. I'm not fighting with my knives or training to cut anyone with my knives. So I don't really, I'd like them to open fast. That's definitely a bonus, but I don't really need, you know, a trigger on the back of the knife to open it right away. And I have other knives with flippers. Another one that I can compare for size real quick is the CRKT. This is the M1614Z, so it's got the Zytel handles. This one is just about a 4-inch blade. And it's about the same, it's definitely heavier, but it's about the same blade length. It's a little bit longer, and the handles are just about the same. So you can see those two are pretty close in size. Let's see, another one that I can bring out is one of my favorite knives of all time, if not my absolute favorite knife, the Benchmade 806D2. And every time I bring this knife out, every time I carry it, I just wish Benchmade would bring it back in the old configuration for the old price. But that one's also really similar. So the blade on the 0560, I think, is closer to 3 3/4 inches, rather than these other two are like 3.9 to 4 inches. So those are just going to be a little bit longer, but still in the same realm. And then let me kind of show you the thickness on a couple of these. There's the M16 side by side. Oh, I would say, you know, just eyeballing it, you know, I don't have my calipers right next to me or even a tape measure, but I'd say those are very similar in overall thickness. The 560 might be a fuzz thicker, and I'm not counting the pocket clip, just the scales there. And then let's try the 806, also known as the AFCK. And that one is definitely thinner. And that was also something that, another reason I made this video and I wanted to talk about some different stuff, was that a lot of the new knives that are coming out, these zero tolerance knives, I remember Benchmade had the Adamas, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. A lot of these knives that are coming out, really, it's a big thing about knives being really thick and beefy, and I guess that appeals to some folks. I don't mind a long or an overall large knife, but the thickness of the knife is definitely a factor for me. I don't want a really thick knife, and it doesn't carry as comfortably for me. So another knife that I have that I always felt seemed kind of thick compared to some of my other knives was the Buck Strider Tarani. And I always thought the liner on this knife was kind of funny. Isn't that like really, really thin? I always thought that was kind of weird. Just the absolute thinnest liner of any of my liner locks that I've ever seen. Cool knife though. I like the blade shape. I like that finger choil towards the front. Also has a really aggressive sort of design to it. And it's always been a little thick. I don't carry this one pretty much ever. I should probably trade it away or something. You can see it's thicker than the 806, but not by much. Let's see how it compares to the ZT. The scales on this one being thicker is kind of makes it look deceptively larger, but I think they're probably just about the same. They feel about the same when I kind of hold them side by side. So let's move these other two out of the way and we'll look at that one next to it. This one I think is only a 3.5 inch blade. So blade a little bit smaller, handle proportionally smaller as well. Here's the Benchmade 710, another one of my favorite EDC knives of all time. I'm pleased to say that this knife is still in production. Just a beautiful knife and comes in at a great price. A lot of Benchmade's knives seem to have crept up in price over the year. I'm not sure, or excuse me, over the years. I'm not sure if that's just my own perception or if they've actually done that. I know they were doing some weird stuff with their map pricing, and you go online and nobody's allowed to show Benchmade prices on their website. That's kind of funky. I don't really appreciate that. But the 710 luckily hasn't gone up too much in price. I think you can find one for 100 to 130. G10, then now they use their D2 steel, which I have on the 806, and I love the D2 steel in that. Takes an edge and lasts a really long time. You don't want to let it go dull, but Benchmade's D2 holds up for a long time without needing to be resharpened. Just a light little touch up now and then. So this one, mine is the older one, and this one I believe is 154 cm. I know you guys probably don't even care about that right now. I just want to show a size comparison. But there's another popular knife that's longer, but again thinner. It's, you know, it's narrower from the profile, and then it's also going to be narrower in overall thickness. Not by much, but enough to where I can feel the difference immediately in my hands. You can kind of see there that they're a little bit different. And let's see what else we have. The American Lawman, which is currently, of my current rotation, I'd consider this one of my, thicker, chunkier sort of EDC knives. So even if it isn't really, it still kind of has that vibe. It has a feeling to it. I think it's just the thickness of the G10 on the scales. You can see it's probably a little bit thicker than the 710. And probably just about identical with the 560 in overall thickness. And their blades look like they're about from the same stock. Same size width or thickness on the blade as well. So there's another little comparison. Let's try out a couple more. Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Considerably lighter feeling. And definitely thinner. Not by a lot though. Again, these are all really close. It's just one of those things, a lot of times, and a lot of you probably notice this with your knives, that once you have it in your hand and you feel it, even though we're talking, percents of a millimeter or 1 millimeter, it doesn't sound like much on paper, but when it's in your hand, it has a different feel to it. I do really like the overall feel of this knife. It really is comfortable. One interesting little thing I noticed is my index finger kind of catches against the little cutout where the liner bar moves in, that little frame lock bar moves in, and I kind of feel that against my finger, but it's not at all uncomfortable. It's just something I notice. Really chunky and aggressive, kind of gappy jimping at the back there. And then there's some in the little choil area, and again some towards the back of the knife. And you know what? I wish I had my cryo out to put next to it, and I don't. And I won't run and get it or stop the video. I'll just count that as a mistake. Just wanted to try out a few different knives and see how they compare. This is my new Kershaw piston that my wife gave me for Christmas. Beautiful knife. I love the design of this knife. Really elegant. And again, this one has a flipper. And it opens so well with just the thumb studs that for my money, they could have left the flipper off. It's just, it's sticking out the back. And that's really what it comes down to with the flipper for me, is it's just one more thing to catch in your pocket or stick out. And I do also want to try the 550. In fact, I might go ahead and flip this if I don't get along with it very well over the next few days, and try the 550 instead. But there you can kind of see the back of it jutting out there. And that's just one of the things that I'm not super excited about when it comes to flippers. This does open, I should say it opens like an assisted opener. The ball bearings and the detent it just pops right out really fast, which is pretty cool. So there's those two side by side. And just for fun, I did have the Endura that I used to open the box, the Spyderco Endura, so we'll put those there. Similar blade length, and obviously the handles are going to be much thinner on the Endura. Again, it doesn't look like it, but they definitely are, and you can immediately tell. I mean, this is just way lighter. And that's the other thing. We'll see how I like the weight on that one. And then one last comparison, like I said, just for fun. Another one of my favorite knives that I pretty much never carry anymore. I used to carry this often. I don't really anymore. But I do like to keep it around because I think that it's really cool. I think it's a really pretty anodized titanium handles and a really cool blade design. This is the Camillus Cuda Max 5.5-inch blade designed by Daryl Ralph. And this is D2 steel on the blade. You can see some oil down there because I have kept this put away for a long time. I want to make sure that it's nice and well oiled so it doesn't develop any rust. It actually flips out really fast, but I'm trying not to like smack my tripod, and it does require a wrist flick as the blade is so long and heavy. But let's put those two side by side, and you can see that just absolutely dwarfs the ZT. And in fact, if you want another comparison just for fun, there's the Tenacious, Spyderco Tenacious, with I believe it's 3-inch or 3.25-inch blade. So that's it, just an unboxing video. Like usual, this goes on a lot longer than I planned for it to. Pretty cool knife, a really cool design. My first impression is that it's very comfortable. It's really easy to get a good grip. It opens very fast. It's got a nice, big, beautiful blade. But to be honest, I hate to say so soon, so early, as I just take it right out of the box, but I'm just trying to give you like my first impressions, and just my gut says that I'm not going to keep this knife. I had to get it, I had to try it, I'm going to carry it around for a little bit, but I have to say, there's something about it that it's a bit too chunky, it's a bit too wide, it's a little bit too aggressive in its styling, that I'm looking for something a little more streamlined. So I might try that 550 instead. But anyway, there it is, the Zero Tolerance ZT0560 with LMAX steel. Again, you've seen a million videos of this already, so I'm not showing you folks anything new. Just kind of wanted to show you my own little unboxing and show you some comparisons. So don't really expect a review, but I might make another video talking about this knife briefly in the future as far as my experiences with it. So thanks so much for coming along for this video, and I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.